Hi everyone, happy Sunday. Ryan here with Authentic Alpha. Sunday is a day of contemplating the greater for me. Every day is contemplating the greater, but Sunday is Sabbath. Day of really thinking about spirituality, connections, and I want to share some of the connections that I've had in the last 24 hours. I was watching this new film, Rental Family, with Brendan Fraser. And it's a really interesting concept. He's an American actor in Tokyo, and he's been there for 7 years or so. I'm not going to spoil too much. He finds himself in this role, this job. He shows up he's acting as, well, the first one he goes to a funeral, like he's a sad American at a funeral. And then as he gets more and more into this agency that's renting out families, he becomes an actor, like a fill-in for missing family members, missing people, or a role, like fulfilling a role for emotional support within different situations. It's a really cool film. I really enjoyed it, and I really got into it emotionally as well. That's me in films. I can get in ones I really enjoy. I get really involved. I love it. So, well, depending on what I watch, but this is really good. And he's with an elder man who's lived quite a life and is reflecting on life. And Brendan Fraser accompanies him to like a temple and kind of brings up this belief in God. And Brendan Fraser said that he stopped believing in God. That he believed in God when he was 15. And the old man said, "Well, what happened?" And then Brendan Fraser jokingly says, "Well, I turned 16." So he doesn't go too much into it, but he's just sharing that this older man who does believe and goes to temples and practices his faith, spirituality, and then Brendan Fraser who doesn't. And then in this one scene as well, that he asks kind of, well, what is in this temple? And then the older man says, well, you find out. And if you're curious, I'm gonna have you. I recommend you watch it. I don't want to spoil that part of it. But then there's another scene where the older man at another temple describes the concept of 8 million gods and asked him if he'd ever heard about that. And then he goes in to describe that the concept of 8 million gods is that God is in nature, God is in the trees, God is in the ocean, God is in you and me. And I thought that was great, right? Like, God is in everything. And so with that, it connected me to the 7 Hermetic Principles, and number 1 and number 2. Number 1 is that we exist in a mental universe, or we live in the mind of the all that is all. Like we exist in the mind of God. We are literally connected to God. And then the principle of correspondence says, as above, so below. So once again, it reiterates this fact that we are all part of the all that is all, which is really unknowable. Like, this concept is just so big that God is not just, old man with a beard, or, all these lesser beings, so to speak, even though they're more powerful than man, that there is this greater entity, and that we are all a part of that. And it led me to other connections as well, like in the Bible. So I have this Bible from my brother, which is really cool. He gave it to me for Christmas. New American Standard Bible. Really beautiful. And the beautiful thing about this is that it leads you to other connections within it. So if you're reading a passage, it will have footnotes that will show similarities to that passage in other parts of the Bible. So I like to chase it, find the connections, find the correspondences within that. So I was looking for, well, in The Great Dictator, in the Charlie Chaplin, it was the first time he spoke on film. And then he goes into a beautiful speech, which I can link here, that I've given my voice to it. It's beautiful. And then he speaks to Luke in the Bible. And in Luke, the way Charlie Chaplin says it is that the kingdom of heaven is in man. And then in this version, so this is Luke 17:20, for those of you interested. And I'd be interested to hear like how it's worded in other versions as well. So in this version, it goes, the kingdom of God is not coming with signs that can be observed. And this is in response to the Pharisees saying, like, where is the kingdom of God? The kingdom of God is not coming with signs that can be observed, nor will they say, look, here it is, or there it is. For behold, the kingdom of God is in your midst. Midst. So I was like, oh, okay. It's a little different from what Charlie Chaplin says, is within you. And then I did the etymology of midst, and it really means the middle or the interior or the central part. So really like within, like we are all part of this greater. And this also led me into different aspects of the Bible, like with the golden rule, and really, if we have this, if we really dive into this belief that God is within us, that we are existing in the mind of the all that is all, of the greater, that God is everything, everything that we can ever imagine, that the golden rule, which is the modern interpretation of it, but so Matthew 7:12, well, Luke 6:31 says, treat people the same way you want to be treated. Luke 6:31. And then the Bible connected me into Matthew, where it says, Matthew 7:12, and everything, therefore, treat people the same way you want them to treat you. And then that connected into this, the greatest commandment, right? The two top commandments. So Matthew 22:37-40. You should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your mind. That is the greatest and foremost commandment. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Upon these two laws hang the whole law and the prophets. So this concept of love, and that God is in everything, that God is within us, and everything that we can imagine, and that all we need to do is just love everything, right? Love God, the all that is all, with all our being, really, heart, mind, soul, body, and that we need to love our neighbors as we love ourselves, right? That this love extends out to everything, that we are all God, we are all part of the greater, we are in this mental universe. And this is the most challenging thing for most of us right now. You can see the world has been, the history of it is this. It's like we have a hard time forgiving, we're taking advantage of other people, we're not treating people the way we want to be treated, really. And it's in this response, we have a hard time forgiving as well. And so it goes into the story of like the Good Samaritan, right? This guy gets robbed and beaten, and he's on the side of the road, and all these people are passing him by, priests and Levites, and then a Samaritan stops and he helps him out, right? Like he treats him the way he would like to be treated, treating him as if he was God. And then there's also other aspects of, in Luke, for example, of like forgiveness, that like if your brother sins, rebuke him. And then if he repents, forgive him. And if he goes against you 7 times in one day and repents 7 times, that you forgive him, not holding it. And I think this is so challenging for people, is this level of forgiveness. But once again, if we go back to God is in everything, including ourselves, and I think a lot of what's happening in this external is that we aren't loving ourselves. And because we aren't loving ourselves, we feel this disconnection to God, or that God is punishing us, or that we're not worthy of love. Like we feel this disconnection from this greater, especially because like it's being mirrored back in our reality. Like that's the power of the mental universe, that what is correspondence says as above, so below, but also as within, so without. So if in your mind, like you're fighting against yourself, or you feel you're being punished, or like it's going to come at you in your external reality. So forgiveness is an act of love. And in many parts of the Bible it also says, like, to have all, give all to all. Like give your coat to someone if they ask. Give. You wouldn't give your son a snake if they asked for bread, right? And that it is harder to love your enemies than to love your neighbors, or love those that love you. So I just want to leave this with you today, like, and for me it's like it's been a big journey, forgiveness for sure, but also like coming to this, and this is where, once again, finding all these connections, all these things that are reiterating this, that God is within everything, 8 million gods, including ourselves, including everyone else, including your enemies, right? Those that hurt you, like forgive them, love them, treat them the way you want to be treated, even if they keep coming at you, right? They need it. They need that love. They're hating for some reason. They're manipulating, they're hurting people for some reason. But if you see the God in everyone and everything, and you love God the great, the all that is all, the greatest light, then that's what we're here for. Is to remember this, that we are part of Source. We are part of this beautiful light of love. Et voila. So, golden rule. For me, I'm trying to like always keep this top of mind. And it takes practice, right? But also mentally, like being aware of what you're not loving, right? Like, where are you not forgiving? And why aren't you forgiving? Because it isn't pardoning that you were pardoned. So if you like to be forgiven, if you do a mistake or you hurt someone, or something happens, then you also like to receive that. So keep this top of mind, and just let this sink in a little bit, and think about how you can be more loving, how you can love God, and it's in everything, and think about that more and more and more, especially in those that challenge you, that hurt you, right? That might need you to be that example, living that golden rule, loving your neighbors, love yourself, love your neighbors. It's the second commandment. And then how you can love, well, which is also a mirror of the first one. Love God with your mind, your heart, and your soul. Have a great day, family. Lots of love to you. Spirituality is a daily practice, moment by moment practice, catching yourself and forgiving yourself for your own mistakes, and always seeing the God within you, the kingdom of heaven within you, and letting that mirror out to everyone else. Always starting with self. Your mindset matters most.